Today's topic we'll discuss is about code pipeline. So this code pipeline comes under developers tools category. Okay. So what does code pipeline mean? For example, different companies will follow different software development life cycle, right? SDLC. Okay, for designing and developing their product. So they have different phases in the SDLC. We may have development phase, testing phase, okay, staging, pre-production, and then production. You'll have different phases in the SDLC. According to the different phases, you'll have different environments: development environment, testing environment. Now, so what happens after developers writing the code and storing on central server? Okay, they store the code on central repo. From then, where exactly the code has to happen, everything will be called and designed on this pipe. Okay, so that's the reason we call it as code pipeline. So on code pipeline, you'll have different stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, like so. On each and every stage you'll be defined by us. Like for example, I'll talk about one pipeline. In this pipeline, let us assume that on the first stage, okay, I have to pull the code from the source code repository, okay, on each and every version change that is committed by developers. For each and every version change, if the developer commits on your centralized server repository, then code pipeline, what it will do, it will pull the code and it will make a build file of that. After that, making a build file, assume that you want to notify your team lead whether the build is successful or not. So you need to call a notification service and you need to send an email via SNS topic to your team lead. Now team lead knows that, okay, my team developers have committed some change. Now I got a build. Now I have to test that change. Okay, by running that build on any server or application. Okay, application server, you have to test that build. For that, all you do, your team lead will approve that build to get deployed on the environment. For that, the second step would be, okay, the build has to deploy. Now it will deploy on one environment. This is second stage. Now what you do after getting a deployment, your testers team lead will get a message like SNS topic. He'll get an email saying that, okay, some build has been deployed on this environment, okay, in testing environment, whatever. Now he'll tell his people, his team people, testers, to test that any wrong bugs are there, anything. Okay, if bugs are there, then they'll notify, and developers will fix the bugs, and again he'll commit the change. If no bugs are there, then you can send an approval message to your RM, reporting manager. If he approves, he will get an email. He'll just click on approve button on that email, then it will deploy on the pre-production or production or any other environment. Okay, this is one of the customized pipeline that I am talking about. According to your requirement, how do you want, how do your company follow the process, you can design your own pipeline. Okay, and you can design your own approvals on that pipeline stages. You can have any number of stages on the pipeline. This is what code pipeline talks about. Here you can see code pipeline is communicating with other AWS services like code commit to bring that code. Okay, and for making a build, it is communicating with code build service of AWS. Okay, for deploying that, it will communicate with the code deploy. there is another service called code deploy. The agenda of code deploy service is to deploy the code on the environment. Okay, now this code pipeline will call code deploy. Okay, now it will call SNS, simple network simple notification services to send emails. It means that this code pipeline is combination of all the different AWS services, okay, to perform some agenda. What is the agenda? To make a build, to test it, okay, to get the approvals and to deploy it on the environment. It depends upon how you define your pipeline, the stages and approvals on that pipeline. So I can say that it is just a process, okay, which we follow, we define for ourselves, so that it calls all the AWS other services and fulfill that our requirement. You can see here code pipeline. So when you keep on this, they're saying that release software using continuous delivery. So continuous delivery means if there any change occurred on your repository, if you want to deliver it continuously, okay, to that end users, and who are end users here, testers or whoever it is who want to see that change. Okay, for that we follow this code pipeline process. So whenever some change happens, it will create a build and it will deploy in the environment. Then you can see how it is working. So usually in olden days, in small offices, what they do, as soon as the developers commit the change on the repository, they literally they copy it and they'll keep it on some application server and they'll run it and they'll test it. Here everything is automated, and this service is restricted to regional. That's what he is saying. The purpose of this code build is to automate the process. What? Build, test, deploy your code, okay, and you can monitor it on the way, on this pipeline, where exactly what happening, is there any problems in the build or is there any problem in the deployment, is okay, you can monitor it, that also, I mean that you can track it. Okay, now we'll see how do we design a new pipeline. That's what he's saying. Visualize and automate the different stages of your software release process and watch as your code go from source code to until the production. For this, you have to name any pipeline. Like I can name the pipeline name as test pipeline for our case, or test. Now, where exactly, who is the code provider, source code provider, where exactly the code is located? Either it is Amazon S3 or GitHub or code commit. If it is code commit, specify the repository name, okay, and specify the exactly the what is the branch name. Okay, this guys has made my life tough. So I'll go with Amazon S3 because I don't have any repositories here. S3, I'll choose one bucket. Go to S3. I've created one bucket for testing. Where is that bucket? Or I can take this also itself. Copy the name of this bucket. See, why I'm doing this is because when you're calling the S3 bucket with other AWS services, you have to call is like that. You have to specify S3 is to slash slash and the bucket name, okay, and where exactly the code is located. Right now in the bucket, I have no code, I know that, but I'm just keeping it like this. Now here I have options whether run pipeline when change in source content are detected. Okay, on the bucket you have to enable the versioning when somebody commits a new change on the bucket. Okay, or it, if they change any file or anything, this pipeline will get executed. It will start doing the from the first stage to the last stage, like build, deploy, monitor, trigger an event, notify, everything. Or you can set up CloudWatch events to run in my pipeline manually, or you can call your pipeline, manually. Whenever you require, you have to call the pipeline so that it performs all these steps. One is automated way. Automatically, this pipeline will detect the code change and it will perform, or else you can have to call it manually. Which one you want to do? Anything you can choose. Saying the format of Amazon S3 location is not valid. Karthik, irresistible. Hmm. Yeah, I got a sample uh, demo website. This is what I am looking for. This is a bucket created by Amazon guys, and they kept a sample website. Now I copied that particular bucket location and let me paste it in my location. Next step. Now, who is the build provider? For making that build, there should be some process. For example, on premises we use Jenkins for creating a build. Similarly, here also Amazon has given some preferences. You can make a build via Jenkins job or AWS code build. Okay, we talked about code build yesterday, right? And Solano's continuous integration. These three tools, by using these three different build creation tools, you can make your build. How do you want to proceed? For this, we'll go with a native AWS code build. If you have Jenkins, you have to specify, okay, where exactly the Jenkins server is located, the URL of the Jenkins server and the project name, okay. Then it will call and it will create. If you have, we have similar with Solana also, okay. If you have code build, we know that it's integrated circuit. Just specify which project. Right now we don't have any project, so we create a new project. Project name, test, build. Okay, but In our case, in my S3 bucket, okay, I placed a URL which consists of already a build file. Here you can see .zip. This is already a build file. Okay, this is not the source code we are pointing. That's the reason what I'll do here, I'll select build as no build. Okay, next, where exactly you want to deploy. Okay, now Amazon ECS stands for EC2 Container Services. ECS stands for EC2 Container Services. This is something you'll deploy your code onto the containers. Containers are something similar to virtual machines, okay, but they have their limitations and restrictions. Now, right now, the most using technology is containers, and maybe in an 1 or 2 years, couple of years, okay, even developers, everything, most of the developers, they design their and they develop the code and they run the code, everything on the containers, because containers are microservices related technology. So let me tell you what exactly this means. Assume that you have physical box. Now, right now, what we are doing in order to utilize that physical box, we are going with hypervisors, softwares, and we are creating the VMs, right? Virtual machines. On each and every virtual machine, again, you are installing the guest operating system. Okay. On that guest operating system, you will have your application. On that application, you will have your code. Now, every virtual machine is virtualizing your physical box resource, like the hardware, the motherboard, the RAM, everything. Here on the containers, you don't need hypervisor. Just on the physical box, you'll have the Linux. Along with Linux, you have to install a small software called Docker. So what it does is, it will create containers. These containers, okay, does not virtualize your physical box, but it will use the kernel of your physical box. Okay, here it will create a new kernel. Here it will use the native existing kernel. Okay, so that on this containers you can host directly the applications. On that you can have your code. Here we are missing out one layer. See, we're not creating any virtual machines. We are just creating the containers. We don't need a guest operating system here because the containers has everything. It will take with from the kernels of your physical box. Okay, this is how the containers. And the best part is, for example, you can host multiple applications on multiple containers. For example, on the same machine, you can host 10 containers with 10 Java 8, 10 JRE environments. Everything it is, every container is independent to each other. Okay, you may ask, hey, why Karthik? Why this is gonna be much famous in the upcoming market? Means there are, while designing a product, there are two types of products people mostly design. One is monolithic applications. One is microservices applications. So in monolithic applications, what happens after designing your code or the product, you deploy it on the servers, right? Now, for example, you have kept your some code website on the server. Now, you need to people gonna need to upload some files to your website. Okay. Now, what you do, you store all your files on your local system. Okay. It means that your application and your code is using your local system's resource to some extent, like the folder storage or anything. So these kind of applications are called monolithic application. It means that your application is tightly coupled with your okay operating system. But here in microservices, those are loosely coupled. So here you can say that you can host uh, the same product login page in one container, okay, and the payment in one container, okay, different. So assume that if 10 developers are working on your code, okay, now you have given a task for 10 developers to update some changes on their different modules. Assume that one developer is working on a login page, one developer is working on payment, one developer is working on middle page or some contact page or something. Now when you make a deployment, this team lead, when he'll check is if all the developers develop the change that required, the new change that required, and then only they can make a build and he can check it. But here in microservices, assume that out of 10 developers, 9 developers completed their work and one developer haven't completed because he's delaying in his work. There is dependency such a way that if the 10th developer, until unless he completes the work, we cannot make a build and we cannot see it. Okay, this is what happens in the monolithic software development side, monolithic category. In microservices, as it is independent to each other, if one developer has completed his development change or anything, he can directly deploy on his containers, and that can write effectively can be seen on that environment. Because here nothing is tightly coupled with each other, these are loosely coupled, they are independent to each other. So now in the market, most of the products are developing into microservices. They don't want to couple, I mean, they don't want to make dependent on that local operating system or that particular mission. So it's like if the mission goes down, yeah, again, you have to change the path. You have to specify C, D directory where to store. On the source code, you'll specify, right? On the D directory, create a folder test. This is where the videos has to be stored. Okay, but in microservices, you don't have this D or anything directory. Okay, it is not much dependent with the operating system, so that you can store. Here in microservices, it's like you can specify the bucket name where you can store. Okay, or what exactly how to say this? I have a PPT for you about these. If you want, I can share. I'm going into a different topic. Mm, okay, I'll share that about this Docker in a PPT with you. Just go through that. Coming back to our main subject, where are we? Okay. Either you can go with Amazon ECS or CloudFormation. CloudFormation is a service. With the help of this CloudFormation service, you can create environments. Okay. Code Deploy is a service. With that help, with the help of this, you can deploy this build whatever you created onto this environment that is created by CloudFormation. Elastic Beanstalk is something, it is a SaaS service of AWS, software as a service, where you don't need to worry about the environment creation or anything. Just select that and tell whether your code support works required Java or .NET. According to that, Amazon will provide the environment and it will run your code. AWS OpsWorks stack is something, it mostly talks about configuration management thing. automation process. With the help of, if you specify AWS OpsWorks stack, it will call the AWS CloudFormation and it will create an environment, and then it will call the AWS code deploy to deploy whatever this build file onto this created environment of AWS. I mean created environment from CloudFormation. Anything you can specify. The best way I suggest is this is much complicated. This is easy. Code deploy is also okay. A CloudFormation is also much complicated, where you have to write uh, stack details, everything from scratch to create an environment. Or if you already have running environment, you can specify that. For time being, we'll go with AWS code deploy, and you have to create an application or any application name if you have, or else you can go with Beanstack. Saying, hey, choose any AWS existing Beanstack application or create a new one. I don't know what is this code, is Java or anything. Let me see what this guys has chosen for deploy. They have gone with AWS code deploy and they named an app. Okay. They named some application like test app. It's saying choose, you have to choose or you have to create a new one. Right now I don't have any AWS code deploy thing. For that we can create a new one. Go to AWS code deploy. I told you right, on this pipeline, this AWS pipeline talks about uh, just process, but it calls all the AWS services, build services, deploy services. Here we are trying to create a deploy services so that this pipeline can call. For this I have to select any sample deployment. Yeah, create sample deployment. This blue or green deployments means if you want to perform the deployment with everything from scratch, with new instances, new applications, you select blue or green. If you want to perform the deployment on already running instances, on the running applications, if you want to just put the code, then you go with in place deployments. Here everything built again from scratch. Here it uses already the thing that you have already running. Only the code is removed and the new code is kept on that application servers. Here even the application servers also replaced with new one. This is all the demo application, everything that is Amazon has named itself. As we have chosen the sample, just launch environment. We require a key pair for logging into that. Now it is creating an environment for us. On the backend, it is calling all the different services of AWS and it is creating an environment. Guys, if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the middle. This is what the application we are using. If you open up this particular bill, what it consists of, let us see. Open. It consists of one website, index.html. Let me open up with the browser. Extract here. Okay, this is a small static website. He kept a small index website saying that congratulations, the application was deployed. On the back end, this code deploy is performing certain steps to create your environment. It is calling AWS CloudFormation, it is creating an environment, everything. If you want, you can see, you can go to AWS CloudFormation and you can see the environment is created there. Environment, we may call environment as stack also. Okay, here you can see that stack is creating. Stack is nothing but a platform environment. Creation in progress. And this is stack created on this particular 22nd November. Okay, it's old one. Let me delete it. What exactly this stack consists of? When you click on the stack name, the name of the stack, this is the unique ID given by Amazon for the stack, and the status is still it is in progress. Now the stack, what exactly it is doing is, here you can see on each and every step at this particular time our code deploy service created a stack on CloudFormation. Okay, and it created an internet gateway, it created a 3 roles, and it created a VPC, it created an EC2 security group. Okay, EC2 subnet, and it is launching, it created an elastic load balancing. Oh, that's a very big stack. It is creating auto scaling for that. It is configuring the launch configurations for that auto scaling. Auto scaling is completed. What exactly this stack does is, I know, that is, it creates three instances with high availability and load balancers. And whenever you deploy something, those something means that the code or build going to be deployed on the 3 environments. I mean the 3 instances. The template is nothing but from this template only it is creating this environment. This is the template written in uh, JSON format. Okay, here you can see under parameters that he is launching 3 instances, and he is using testing. He attached a testing key pair for authenticating into that instances, and he launched a load balancer with this name, and he launched a service role name with this, and he opened a security group SSH, so whoever has this key pair can communicate into that instances. This, okay, stack is created. If I go to AWS EC2, I should see 3 instances running. Here you can see 3 instances are running. Yeah, still it is in initializing mode. Now, if I go back to code pipeline, now here I can refresh and I can specify that. Okay, it is not refreshing because I have to refresh everything from scratch. Now pipeline name AWS. Sorry, I'll keep it as test. Next, who is the source code provider for us? Amazon S3. What is the S3 location that we copied? We took a sample, right? What is your application name here? The code build, code deploy, blue green demo application, deployment group. Where exactly this application has to deploy it. This. We need role for doing that. Role is something that gives the permissions for one service to communicate with other service. Okay, this is how you design a pipeline. Now I'm creating one pipeline. Now I created a pipeline. Here you can see the pipeline consists of source code from Amazon S3. Okay, and it can deploy on AWS, and it will call AWS code deploy for making this deployment. If you want to keep any approvals in the middle, you can keep the approvals also. Like I'll edit this pipeline with a different stage, and the stage is I'll perform an action like approval, action name, test, approval type, manual approval. Here you have to configure Amazon SNS topic so that for that particular configured topic, subscribers will get an email for approving. If he click on the approval, then only it will proceed further and it will go further and next followed stage. What is that? Deployment. Okay, like this you can customize your pipeline and you can add on different stages on this code pipeline. So any doubts on this topic, guys? Is it Dattu is clear that?
Karthik?
Yeah, do you have any doubts on this topic?
Yeah, I need to try it on my own. Then, sir, any doubts I'll ask you.
What?
I'll try it on my own tomorrow.
No, we can't hear you. Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yeah, I'll try it on my own.
Okay, you try it on
I'll
your own.
practice
Okay.
it, then I'll have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll practice it and I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Nagaraj?
No, bro.
So, did you understand the class? Is it complex? Because we are all talking about this code, and so much of the developer side and DevOps people.
Yeah,
So, how do you feel about this class? Like, hey, bro, I need some more in detail on this, like that, or whatever I explained is that sufficient for you, or do you want to make a practice?
If I practice once, I get to familiar with it. Then I can ask whatever the doubts I got.
What about you, Raj? Raj is being from networking background or IT guy. So how do you feel about this? Is this new to you or something you already faced?
Practice. No.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Everybody says, hey, bro, we need to practice and then we'll get back to you. Okay, understand? Just practice. I'll share this video today itself. If you want, you can listen once again. Okay. And try to practice it. And if you have any doubts, you can get back to me on the tomorrow class. Okay. That's it, guys. That's it for today. Okay, some says I will practice over weekend and let you know. Okay, no problem. It's up to you. Okay, we'll meet up with tomorrow a new topic. Thanks. Bye.